Could one gorilla defeat 100 men in a fight to the death? On the surface, it sounds ridiculous. But if you strip away the absurdity and lay down real conditions, the question becomes a legitimate study of strength, coordination, fear, and biology. Gorillas are pound for pound among the strongest animals alive. Humans, meanwhile, are weak individually, but overwhelming in numbers. So what happens when raw power faces collective effort? Where is the tipping point? How many men does it take to bring down a gorilla, and how many of them die trying? The silverback gorilla, an adult male gorilla, weighs between 300 and 485 pounds, 136 to 220 kilograms. Most of that mass is muscle, focused heavily in the chest, back, shoulders, and arms. They're not just big, they're built for brute force. Gorillas can lift more than 1,800 pounds, 816 kilograms, in pulling force, and they have a bite strength of about 1,300 pounds per square inch, psi. Gorillas have about 1.5 to 2 times the muscle mass, and studies suggest gorillas are 4 to 10 times stronger than the average human. Their reach is long, their grip is crushing. Combined with fast twitch muscle dominance and explosive movement, the gorilla has everything it needs to do real damage in a short time. Gorillas can break bones, pull, or twist limbs with little effort. Additionally, gorillas are durable. They have thicker bones, tougher ligaments, and higher pain tolerance than humans. They've evolved to endure conflict in the wild, challenges from other males, threats from predators, and accidents from climbing or falling. A blow that would incapacitate a man might barely register to a gorilla. The 100 men. The average adult male stands between 5 feet 8 inches and 6 feet, 1.73 to 1.83 meters, tall, and weighs roughly 150 to 200 pounds, 68 to 91 kilograms. In our scenario, the 100 men are comprised of fit, healthy adults ages 20 to 40. The group has a combined weight of over 17,000 pounds, 7,700 kilograms. None are trained fighters. Humans are fragile compared to gorillas. They have thin skin, light bones, and no natural weapons. What they lack in relative strength, they make up for in endurance. Human muscles are built for sustained activity. Unlike the gorilla, which relies on explosive bursts of power, humans are capable of long, grinding effort. We are among the best endurance animals on the planet, thanks to slow-twitch muscle fibers, upright posture, and cooling mechanisms like sweating. Then there's the brain. Humans outclass gorillas in adaptability. Even under stress, groups of people can work together instinctively. They can use the environment, learn from mistakes, and adjust quickly. The epic battle. Let's set the stage. The combat happens in an enclosed room, about 50 by 50 feet, 15 by 15 meters. There are no weapons and no barriers. The temperature is kept cool and neutral. No one is allowed to run. No one is allowed to sit it out. No one leaves until one side is dead or incapacitated. Importantly, every human is here to fight. The first clash is violent but brief. The humans surround the gorilla and attack. Within seconds, the gorilla disables several men. A silverback gorilla, cornered and under threat, will lash out with brutal efficiency. It bites, throws, and slams with terrifying speed. It may crush ribs, dislocate shoulders, or tear into faces. But it can only target 1 or 2 people at a time. That limitation is critical. If the humans accept losses and keep coming, their sheer volume overpowers the gorilla. The first few men take the most damage. The next wave grab the gorilla's arms, legs, head, and body. Some get flung off, some hold on. But the humans are relentless, eventually forcing the gorilla to the ground in less than a minute. In the wild, gorilla fights are short, violent, and decisive. In a scenario against 100 humans, the gorilla would start to fatigue quickly. Once grounded, the fight tilts. the gorilla's strength becomes less useful. Even a silverback can't throw off a dozen people at once, especially if they're anchored to its legs or pulling it to the ground. The pressure mounts. Its chest can't expand. It struggles to breathe. Exhaustion sets in. By the 3 to 5 minute mark, the gorilla is likely overwhelmed, partially restrained, buried under bodies, and breathing heavily. From here, the finish is inevitable. Some men press knees and forearms against the throat. Others smother the face or block the nose and mouth. The gorilla shuts down under the crush of human bodies. It's asphyxiation by body weight. Some men toward the bottom of the pile may also suffocate. Aftermath. If all 100 men commit to fighting a gorilla and they're willing to accept casualties, they will win. With those numbers, the gorilla will eventually slow down, be restrained, and killed. Beating the gorilla to death is possible, but it would take dozens of strikes and risk more injuries to the attackers as it takes space to deliver a blow. Smothering is faster, safer, and more likely. The key is speed, pressure, and relentless forward movement. If the men don't attack, fail to coordinate, or hang back, the battle drags on. In a scenario where the men are afraid to fight, the gorilla takes control. The first wave gets destroyed, the second never comes. And the room becomes a human killing ground. With decisive action, total human fatalities may be minimal. The gorilla could kill 1 or 2 men outright through blunt force trauma. However, since fatal blows often require space to execute, in a dense swarm, the gorilla wouldn't have room to kill many people. 5 to 10 others could suffer serious injuries in the melee. Another 1 to 3 may die from suffocation during the pileup, but the vast majority of men would be unharmed and survive. Expert opinions. Who do the experts believe would emerge victorious in our hypothetical battle? Tara Stoinski, president of the Dean Fossey Gorilla Fund, notes that despite a gorilla's raw strength, the sheer number of humans could lead to the gorilla being overpowered through coordination and endurance. Wildlife biologist Caleb Judd, with a background in primatology, estimates that 30 to 40 men could potentially subdue a silverback gorilla, emphasizing that while the gorilla is incredibly strong, its stamina doesn't match human endurance. Ron McGill of Zoo Miami concurs, stating that 100 physically fit men, if united, could succeed, but at a significant cost, describing this scenario as a kamikaze mission for those closest to the animal. Psychologist John Drury adds that collective action might help humans win, but it depends on trust and shared identity among the group. How many men could one gorilla defeat? The fight becomes roughly even at 20 humans. At this range, the outcome becomes uncertain. The gorilla can realistically incapacitate several of them before being overwhelmed. But if the men are aggressive and coordinated from the start, they can subdue it, barely. On the other hand, if they're slow to engage or fight individually, the gorilla could win. Here's why that number matters. At 10 humans, the gorilla still has the advantage. It can focus attacks, exploit fear, and stay mobile. It's possible, though unlikely, that 10 men could subdue it with minimal losses, but only with perfect coordination and timing. At 15 to 20, the humans can begin to smother the gorilla. They have enough mass to restrict its movement and enough bodies to keep attacking from all angles, even while absorbing casualties. Above 25, the gorilla's odds drop off fast. There are simply too many attackers for it to manage. The estimated threshold where it's no longer obvious who wins is 1 gorilla versus 20 humans.